Did you know what the master plan was? It was that Russia would invade Ukraine, and likewise, China would follow suit and invade Taiwan at the same time. But did it go as it was planned? Apparently, the execution of the plan was carried out by Russia. However, it didn't go well. It didn't achieve the terms Russia had thought to. China was supposed to invade Taiwan, but it didn't do so. Why? Because it knows there are some formidable threats it has to face if it does so. But is China really capable of invading a country like Taiwan? What does China have to go through if it does so? Let's disclose what formidable challenges China has that restrains it from invading Taiwan. Perhaps these challenges can make China's invasion of Taiwan the toughest thing to do, no matter how big its economy is. But before we continue, here's the reminder to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to watch more videos about how the world is being shaped. Let's get started. Russia and China are considered to be the two rivals of the United States in almost everything, be it nuclear power, trade, economy, and even fame. They seem to have plans to either beat the United States or at least keep pace with it. The plan of invading Ukraine by Russia and Taiwan by China was something that was made keeping this in view. It was thought that the succession of invasions by these two countries would leave the United States far behind to react. But did it go that way? Perhaps not. And why did China take a step back and rethink what it had to do? This is what everyone needs to know about since it has got so much hidden in it. While Russia was preparing for Ukraine's invasion, China was painstakingly making assumptions about the outcomes. One of the major assumptions was Russia would invade Ukraine and take over the entire country within no time. Their assumption was perhaps not illogical, but it lacked the practical element of how the invasion can deflect in some situations. China had thought that in times like these, when most of the countries are nuclear, an invasion would be an easy thing for Russia. Another point that was vivid in their assumption was Ukraine's mutual ethnicity with Russia, since Ukraine's eastern border supports Russia. However, all these assumptions have been proven wrong. The invasion that was being considered as invade and rule is now lasting long. This is where China comes to rethink its plan of invading Taiwan. China waited and did not invade Taiwan at the same time as Russia was invading Ukraine. The reason for that is China wanted to see how the world would respond to such an invasion in these modern times of nuclear weapons and sanctions. China's this strategy proved to be beneficial since China has come to know the vulnerabilities it has in all this plan. First of all, invading Taiwan is not going to be as easy as invading Ukraine. For more than 60 years, Taiwan has known the geographical position that makes it a country for which many countries can go to war. Taiwan did know that the countries near it can think of invading it and capture the industries and technologies it is working on. And what's the country Taiwan has near it? Only China. For more than 60 years, Taiwan has been preparing to buffer any invasion. Taiwan isn't a country like Ukraine that does not have its defense mechanism in a functional form. Rather, Taiwan is a country which knows this for decades that China can invade it at any time. For that reason, Taiwan did work on its defense system and has had nuclear reactors for almost 40 years. Thus, it can bring nuclear weapons to the battlefield whenever needed. But there is something that makes Taiwan a tough target for China. Taiwan is an island. This means that there isn't any single border Taiwan has with any country. If China invades Taiwan, it will need a whole fleet of warships and perhaps aircraft carriers. This makes a quick invasion a slow process. While the Chinese would enter the sea, Taiwan would know about the invasion and the whole world's attention could be brought within no time. Even many countries might want to be a part of either side as well, so this possibility makes Taiwan's invasion a formidable challenge. Another assumption that China made about Taiwan is China would invade Taiwan and take over its semiconductor sector besides the territory. This is an incorrect assumption, given that the Chinese are not capable of handling such a semiconductor sector at all. China has been working to produce chips that are an integral part of computers and electronic devices, but so far, it has not made any revolutionary breakthrough. So if China does invade Taiwan and takes over its semiconductor sector, it will not be able to sustain it at all. China thought earlier that it would invade Taiwan and the world would accept it as something inevitable. China assumed that it will impose a new world order after taking over Taiwan, and the rest of the world has to take this as a fact. But now China knows that this is not going to happen. After seeing how Ukraine resisted Russia, given that it's a small territory with less military aid, China is reconsidering things. Plus, there is another immutable threat as well. The West will impose sanctions as well. If we take all the sanctions imposed on Russia in the last few weeks and apply them to China, it will be disastrous. Russia is one of the world's biggest exporters of food and energy, and it does need the world market for that. But if we consider China, it's a country that has to import food and energy every day. If sanctions are imposed, China will have nothing to feed its citizens and no energy to run its industries. Furthermore, China is a country that relies entirely on the world to sell its products. It needs the world market at any cost because without it, it's a country producing surplus amenities with no buyer at all. If sanctions are imposed on China, we will see food shortage and, above all, deindustrialization of China. Within no time, China will have no industry to produce products and export to the whole world. This really would be catastrophic for a country like China. But this doesn't end here. Not only countries are imposing sanctions and boycotting Russia, but the private enterprises are also following suit. The way these multi-billion-dollar private companies can change their policies depending upon their clients' sentiments has proven brutal for one of the biggest countries. In one way or the other, people with capital and companies providing jobs and capital are essential for every country. And if these countries do anything that might offend the company's customers, they can boycott that particular country within no time. This vanishes the job opportunities and wipes off the capital that these companies can offer. Without them, no country can grow, and China also knows that. Among all countries, China is the one taking the best quality advantages from globalization. It exports tons over tons of products to almost every country to earn capital and fulfills its energy and food needs by importing them. If globalization is taken away from China, or in other words, sanctions are imposed on China, it will be a country totally alienated from the whole world. Countries like Russia can sustain in these conditions because it has two essential things a country needs: food and energy. But countries like China, which is dependent upon other countries for these two things, an invasion plan can be catastrophic. China has been making these assumptions for over 70 years, and Russia has proven them all wrong within 2 weeks. These assumptions, which are now the very hurdles toward invading Taiwan, were the incentives China earlier had to invade Taiwan. But with all these assumptions proven wrong, China has no option but to remake the strategies. It has to consider the New World Order and the consequences it has to meet if it does invade Taiwan. The incentives are now the hurdles that make the plan of Taiwan's invasion the rarest success. But we have to wait and see what China does after all this. Would China invade Taiwan anyway, even with all these potential threats? Let us know your opinion in the comments section right below. Also, if you love the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and for more videos based on legit sources, make sure to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. Until the next video, stay tuned.